Just gonna wait a couple minutes. Make a chance to get notified.
Or it must come, it must go. Cause that's the way the world goes. Don't fuck with my spirit, my pro. Like I told you hoes, you get exposed. Don't fuck with my spirit, that's such a hearing. Don't fuck with my spirit, that's such a hearing. Cause I got the keys, oppressive fearing. Cause I got the keys, oppressive fearing. Don't fuck with my spirit, don't fuck with my spirit.
Thank you to the moderators that are here. Thank you to the family that's here. Thank you, Dorothy. I appreciate you. Okay, family, I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I don't have too much time, and there's quite a bit of stuff I want to talk about. You know, these people keep talking about love, love, love. There's some people next to me when I was doing some stuff yesterday. They're talking to each other, a couple of Edomite men. Yo, did you go to church this morning? Oh yeah, I went to church this morning. There was this pastor that was there. I don't know what he's doing. He's just going all over the place. I didn't understand what he was talking about, you know. And then they left, and some Asian or Indonesian women were there. Like, did you go to church today? Oh no, I didn't make it to church today, but I listened to it online and whatever else. And it's like, you know, people always talk about like R. Kelly, and like, oh, I still listen to R. Kelly. I like his music still. They're like, how do you listen to R. Kelly? I said, you know, he did this and he did that. And I was like, wait, how are you guys still going to church? Did you not know that your pastors and your priests are over here raping boys, but you still go to church? But then you want to talk about R. Kelly and something that maybe consenting adults were doing or whatever else, but you won't even talk about what your priests and pastors are doing. And then you guys are talking about love, love, love. And you know, the thing is, I was watching that show. Some clips keep popping up on my feed from American Gods in that show, and there was a part where he gets this Muslim woman. It looks like some Hamite dude, quite possibly being the death angel. But of course, it's the black guy. He's coming to bring, you know, that they die, and he comes and gets them and takes them up, and he weighs their heart, right? And, you know, he pulls the heart out of the Muslim woman. But what was funny was when the black guy shows up at her door, he goes, oh, you're at the wrong door. You know, black people are upstairs. And he's like, well, I'm not here for that. Well, if you're going to rob, you know, here, take the TV and whatever else. I was like, oh, that's nice. So she gets to be racist and just assume that a black guy is at her door. And if he wasn't here to see the family upstairs, then he's here to rob and steal. And she's like the bigger person. Is like, oh, just take whatever you want. Just take, you know, whatever you want. Like she's the bigger person when in the first place, you people who come over here have been the ones robbing everything of ours. Your opportunity, all you guys coming over here to get the, you know, chase your dreams and get that American dream. All of you have been all about coveting something that's not yours. It wasn't like these lands were just sitting here unoccupied and you guys got an opportunity to come over here and chase your dream. If you're here to chase your dream, that means then that someone had to go into a nightmare so that you could live a dream. But back to the part where, in this American Gods clip, she dies and whatever else, and my parents gonna found me like this, and I was making this dinner, and here, to the death angel, taste it, and it's perfect, and whatever else. Takes her up, pulls her heart out, and is getting ready to weigh it on the scales, and one was a feather, and then she puts her heart there, and she starts trying to confess, I was not good to my first, boyfriend, and this and that, and da, da. He just goes, it's okay. Your heart has been weighed, and you're fine, and you get to go pick whatever, door you want to go to, and blah, blah, blah. And see, you Constantine Christians think that's how it's going to happen for you, right? But it's funny, when he's weighing your heart, what do you think he's weighing exactly? You think it's okay to be racist like she was in a part of the clip? It's subtle racism, but it's still, you have a thought that if a guy's at your door, a black man, that he's here to rob you. So therefore, you're thinking that black people, are here to steal and cheat and everything else. But the whole thing was that's what you guys have been here to do. What do you think is going to be how your heart is going to be weighed? The Most High tells you how it's going to be weighed. It's going to be weighed on how you treated the Most High's chosen people. And 90+% of you will not even admit who the Most High's children are. So you're going to carry that weight, that hate, and that, all that hate that you have in your heart is weighing your heart down. So when you do die, and they do pull out that heart, and they get ready to weigh it, it's going to sink right to the bottom because you did not bless the Most High's chosen people. You were all about ignoring justice for us and getting gains here. What makes you think somehow that you're going to be able to treat his people like crap, ignore all the stuff that they've gone through, and that somehow you're going to be rewarded for that? I want to play this clip here that was shared with me by Brother Muriel and Brother Sly. Just the first minute about justice, right? I thought it was pretty telling.
We should talk about justice. Different concepts of justice. Moral justice.
Hold on.
Justice.
I'm going to start over. It's only like a minute.
What you can call epochal justice. We should talk about justice. Different concepts of justice. Moral justice, legal justice, and what you can call epochal justice, or what we understand as divine justice. Divine justice in this dunya. Now, moral justice, or what I'm calling moral justice, is basically a sentiment. It's a feeling that we have. The feeling, that you have when you suffer or when you witness what you perceive to be injustice, unfairness, harm or hurt or some kind of wrong. This originates in our fitra. It's in our nature. It might be even subconsciously informed by an innate recognition of divine justice. Meaning we're born with a sense of good and a sense of what is upright and natural behavior and a sense of our rights and responsibilities as human beings. So when something violates that, or when something happens that violates that, we have a visceral, emotional reaction. And I think that most of us tend to operate on this level. The emotional reaction to issues of justice and injustice is what...
Now, funny. So you're trying to say that when you see injustice, you have this innate feeling that it's wrong and it should be fixed, right? You do that for Psalms 83. You do that for Psalms 83. But when you see us being beaten down in the streets, when you talk about slavery, when you talk about the horrible things that happen to our people, you have a blind eye. You don't have that same innate feeling of justice that needs to be done for these people. That is what it's talking about with, when you get your heart weighed. Most High is going to weigh your heart with, when you saw my people in these horrible conditions, did you cry out for justice for my people? Did you cry out for justice for them? Did you try to make things right for them? And see, you haven't, you don't, and you haven't in the past, you still don't, because we're telling you who we are. We're telling you about our history. And you're doing nothing. You're doing nothing about it. You're doing nothing about that. You're just being quiet. And that's why your heart is going to be sinking, and that's why you're going into darkness. Like, it's very simple. Like, I've been telling you, like, hey, prove Revelation 6 and 8. Show us how that is not when Columbus and these people came over here and stole our lands. No takers. No nothing. Then as soon as someone starts running their mouth and start opening their mouth about, a Antichrist coming in the future and he's going to, 7-year tribulation period, you just hit them with that verse. Hit them with that right there. Because that shows you that what's coming on the lands, is coming on the world, is coming for you. What's coming is not coming for us. What's coming is coming for you. And for what you have already done, to the Most High's chosen people. We have already paid our debt to the Most High. You have not. Now, see, I'm going to play something here from Pastor Mitchell, because it's funny, because, when you have eyes to see, ears to hear, you have the Holy Spirit, you can see something that they're totally just ignoring. He was talking about this parable.
All across the nation of Israel.
Talking about, the lands. Well, I'm going to go back a little bit. How the Most High, in this parable, he's talking to the to the Sadducees and all the rulers of the day, how he was talking about how they were stewards of the land for a certain amount of time. But when the Most High sends his children back, they thought that the lands were theirs. So when he sent the children back, to get the fruits that belong to the Most High, they were killing the children, right? And I'm like, don't you see how that's what you guys have been doing? You were given the opportunity to be the stewards of Turtle Island, right? The fourth part. And when the Most High starts to waking up his people, or you don't want us to even have a connection with the lands whatsoever, you kill us. You keep us at the bottom because you never wanted us to be, to actually know that these are our lands and that we are the heirs of these lands. So I'm going to play a little bit of this video.
Where wealthy people bought land, planted vineyards, and then rented out those vineyards to tenants to work the land while they were away.
And that's pretty much you Gentiles. Most High lets you work the lands. We were tenants on our lands. You were able to work the lands while the Most High was away. But you treated his people like garbage. Right?
Now, I want to draw your attention to a few things in the beginning of the parable. I want you to notice in the parable, there is a master, watch, who owns the vineyard. I want you to notice that there are tenants, watch, who are only stewards of the vineyard. They own nothing. I don't want to bring...
That would be you, Gentiles. You're only stewards for a time on our lands, but you own nothing. These lands are not yours. They are the Most High's and his children. Okay?
Pay attention to the word lease. That means their time on the vineyard is fixed. They will not be on the vineyard forever. I want
to see, again, they're not going to be on the vineyard forever. You're going to be getting kicked off the lands. You will be getting cleared off the lands. You own nothing.
To draw your attention to the fact that the Lord said the master built a fence or a wall around the vineyard. That wall was to protect people from robbing the grapes and ravaging the crops.
Our wall and our fence here were the oceans. Still is the oceans. That is how the Most High kept all the other nations away from our lands, was the oceans.
I want to also draw your attention to the fact that he said he built a wine press in the vineyard. A wine press is a stone apparatus that's designed for crushing grapes, to harvest the juice, to put it in bottles to produce wine. And I want you to notice he also built a watchtower, a wall, a wine press, a watchtower. And the function of a watchtower was to have a building for safety,
fair use,
a building for storage, and a building for lookout. Now, why is Jesus going through such lengths to put all of these things in this parable? He's trying to communicate to the spiritual leaders who are listening. He's trying to communicate to the thousands of people who are listening that this man, in this parable, in this story, went through great lengths to make sure that this vineyard was protected, it was well funded, it was well taken care of, it could be fruitful. He wanted to make sure that the people listening to the parable would understand that the tenants had no excuses to not be fruitful in that vineyard. Watch,
the tenants had no excuse to not be fruitful. You other nations have not been fruitful here. You have done everything to just take and take and take for you to enjoy, but you did not, take care of the Most High, who owns the vineyard. You do not take care of his children, because the vineyard is going to go back to them. Again, that's all talking about the Most High, our lands, and our people. You guys were nothing but tenants who were only here for a time. And you should have thought about that before you did the things that you did and continue to do to the Most High's people, because we are his representatives.
Everything they need to be fruitful. They had protection. They had a wine press. They had a tower. They had land. They had everything they need to be fruitful. He's trying to communicate, everybody watch, that the master took good care of the vineyard. Gosh. And the master gave the tenants everything they needed to flourish in the vineyard. Watch. He's trying to communicate that the tenants had no excuses not to be fruitful in the vineyard.
That's you, Gentiles. He's talking about you. Psalms 83, you had no reason to not be fruitful. You were given the best lands. You had his people in subjection because we were going through our cursing, but you went way too far with the lands, brutalizing the lands and his people, the apple of his eye. Exactly.
Okay. So watch, there is a master and there are tenants and the vineyard. Now verse 34. Now when the season for fruit drew near, he sent his servants to the tenants to get his fruit. Now I want to explain to you in history what's happening. In first century Palestine, these wealthy landowners did not live in Israel. They would go to a foreign land and they would send, watch, representatives back to their vineyard to collect the money or the fruit that belongs to them. This would happen.
Sending people to get fruit that belongs to them. We're doing that right now. We're doing that right now. And then how do they react when the Most High sends his children, his sons and daughters, to collect the fruit that's owed to him?
But they would send their representatives back annually to take a harvest of the grapes that belonged to them. Notice the master did not ask them for the whole vineyard. He only asked them for what belongs to him. And I want to draw your attention to where it says he sent his servants, not any servants. He sent his representatives, watch, to his vineyard to collect, watch, his fruit. That is, since you're working my land, pay me what you owe me. Pay me what's due. Pay me what belongs to me. This is common practice in first century Israel. So now you have a master. Pay attention. He has a vineyard that belongs to him. He has tenants who are stewards, and he sends his servants to collect what belongs to him annually every single year. Now, verse 35 is insane to me. I'm trying to, sister.
Fair use.
Verse 35. And the tenants, when he sent his servants to collect his fruit, the tenants took his servants and they beat one, killed another, and stoned another. Okay, stop. Now, family, you can't just read past that like that don't matter, right?
And the thing is that that's exactly what you churches have done. When you're talking to these churches, that's what you guys have condoned. You've done all these horrible things to our people in order to keep things that don't belong to you. You did all these horrible things. These lands were not, they're not for the pretendians. These are our lands. And you had a little bit of time with them, but your time now with them is done. We are quickly moving to our new year. So you think things are bad now. You think things are bad now, Gentiles. You just wait until what starts to happen after the true new year.
Because if you're going to study the word, you got to study with your heart, you got to study with your mind, you got to study with your soul. You got to put your intellect in there. Okay?
But see, you other nations don't put your intellect into the reading the scriptures. You don't do any of that. You don't put your mind, body, and soul into this. You just want to be, have your ears tickled. It's very easy to sit here and look and see that he's giving you a parable about his lands given to stewards for a time, Most High sending his people to collect what's due and them killing them, stoning them, right, and beating them.
This man owns the vineyard.
Most High.
He sends a servant 1 year to collect that money.
His people.
And that servant is beaten and left within an inch of his life.
Gentiles.
The next year, he sends another servant. That servant is stoned and probably dies from his injuries. The next year, he sends another servant. They don't even wait for him to get on the grounds. They kill him as soon as he gets to the vineyard. Now, family, listen, somebody's over there saying, my Lord. When I read that, I'm saying.
So, as you can see, this is why your hearts are going to be weighed and they're going to be very heavy. Because you're going to realize that all you Psalms 83 have been killing the Most High's children. For things, you're killing them for things that don't even belong to you. And you cannot keep it because everything belongs to the Most High. And he's already given blessings to each and every family. But this is going to be your land. This is going to be your land. This is going to be your land. But you have gone way overboard and your time on top is over with. And just like the guy said, oh, well, justice, if you just see it, like the vast majority of people have a great heart for injustice and wanting to fix things. Hell no. None of them want to do anything for Israel except fight for lands and resources that don't belong to them. But that's not going to be continuing much longer. Much love, family.